Hello and welcome. My name is Nick Love with Love Racing, and here for week 10 we are at Oulton Park Circuit, the International layout in the Toyota GR86. Alright, we'll start with a full speed lap, followed by a breakdown lap where we look at the racing line as well as braking markers and turn-in points. You'll find a link to the ghost files from these laps in the description. Here as we pass the start-finish line, we're going to stay track left here. It's going to be a 90-degree sweeping right-hander. We're going to look at the banners on the left for our braking point. We're going to gun shift into third. We can track out quite a bit here, about center of the car on the white line. Any further over and you'll get a 1X. Don't cut the corner too much for turn 2, it'll upset the car. You're going to get track right in this little dip. We're going to downshift into third. We'll turn in, we're going to use some of that bumper on the inside and get back on throttle nice and early. Do not track out much here, that's about as far as you can go without a 1X. Now we can take a breath as we go down the straight. We're going to stay in fourth and stay track right. We're going to lift right at this frontage road on the right. Once you feel the front end grip up a little bit, get back on throttle. We're going to stay fully track left here. As we pass the tire wall, we're going to get on brakes, down in a second. We're going to keep this nice and tight. If you do go too tight and go over that line, you will get a 1X. Now as we come up to the chicane, this is where most people lose time. The goal here is to get a nice late turn in for the beginning of the chicane. That way you can straight line your braking zone, turn in nice and early and get back on throttle. Okay, as we come up over the hill, we're going to start to track left here. We're going to keep an eye on the left for our braking markers. We're going to brake right about before the 50-meter marker. As we pass the first bit of tires, we're going to want to get fully all the way over to the right. We can maximize this radius so we can carry the speed through this next corner. Get fully left again. Nice little lift, get some grip, and then back on throttle. You can track out a bit there. Now as we go through this uphill section, we don't really need to track all the way right here. You don't need to use all the track. We're going pretty slow, so you can stay about mid-track to left of track here. Save yourself a bit of distance traveled. We're going to use the track surface change as our braking marker here. Downshifting to third. We're going to keep this pretty tight here. Try to get back on throttle nice and early. Coming up to the final corner, we're going to look for the crest past the turn sign on our left. That's going to be our braking marker. We're going to want to downshift into third. What you're going to do is you're going to nice late turn in, get back on throttle nice and early as you crest that hill, and then you can track out there. Your car's going to get really squirrely there. Alright, that was our full speed lap. Now we're going to go ahead and brake down on this next lap. Heading to turn 1, we're going to keep our eyes left here. Our braking marker is going to be the gap in between these two banners. If you're really looking for those last few tenths, you're going to want to put your tires as close as possible to the edge of the track. This is just going to allow us to carry a little bit more speed into the corner. We should be getting back to full throttle right here at the apex. We want to track out here as much as we can without a 1X. That's about where the center line of the car is about in line with the bumper. To minimize our distance traveled to turn 3, we're just going to stay about mid-track here. Make sure not to be too aggressive over this curb. We're going to use the dip in the track here as our braking marker. I always like to use markers that either are right in front of me or that I can feel on the track itself, as opposed to something in your periphery outside of the apex. We're going to use all the curbing here on the inside. As we pass this barrier, this is going to be our reference point to get back on throttle. This is about the maximum you can track out here without getting a 1X. Heading down the straight, we can start thinking about turn 4. You can actually take turn 4 flat out, but it usually pushes you a bit wide. It's going to cause you some issues. What I like to do here is just lift right as you get to this frontage road on the right, and then you can turn in, and then you can get back on throttle pretty early after. Okay, we're going to stay track left here. Keep an eye on the tires on our left, that's going to be our reference marker. Go ahead and downshift from fourth down into second. For most of this corner, you're going to want to keep it to the left of that white line. That way you can just make sure you don't get that 1X. As we track out, we can use all the runoff on the left, and we're going to slowly start to get over to the right. What I've found is the easiest way to kind of describe how you want to take this chicane. You want to get your eyes focused on the second part of the chicane, and you want to consider it just as a right-handed corner. You don't want to consider it as a left then a right. If you do that, you end up turning left, you get the car pointed in the wrong direction, and there's a lot of momentum changes. It makes it really hard. There's no great reference point here as where to turn in. What you want to do is just try to push this as late as possible. That way as you pass the first rubber tire barrier, you'll have the most room to turn right. Our goal here is to brake in a nice straight line, get as close as we can to this tire barrier. This way we can get as far to the track left as we can before the second tire barrier. Okay, as we're braking, downshifting into second, we're going to want to get off the brakes, get some of that weight back transferred to the front tires before we turn in here. It's going to give us that last bit of grip that we need to make this corner. After we've got that initial turn-in bite, we can go ahead and get back on throttle as we pass that tire barrier. As you're going up the hill, you don't want to force yourself to pull the car all the way left. You know, just a nice easy steering angle, don't scrub off any speed, then slowly move left. Here we're going to start getting our eyes over to the braking markers. We're going to be braking at the 50-meter marker. We're going to downshift from 4th all the way into 2nd here. We're going to look at a nice late apex on that first tire barrier. That'll help us carry some speed through that second part. We're going to use a little bit of maintenance throttle here, just to kind of help us settle the car. And you're going to want to get as close as possible to these tire barriers. It's really all about confidence here. As you pass the second tire barrier, you should be back to full throttle, and you're going to keep that steering angle so that way it pulls you all the way track left and prepares us for the next corner. After you've tracked left as far as you can, you're going to go ahead and lift, try to get some weight on those front tires, and then you're going to turn in here. We also have quite a bit of runoff at the exit here. You can use almost as much as turn 1. Okay, now coming up the hill, you really just want to minimize your steering input here. You want to keep the steering wheel as straight as possible, scrub off the least amount of speed. For turn 14, I'm going to use the change in surface on the track as my braking marker. I'm going to turn in a little bit first, then I'm going to get on the brakes once I'm pointed at the apex. We're going to go ahead and downshift from 4th into 3rd. As we're in between the two apexes, we're going to get back on throttle. As we approach the final corner, we're going to stay track left here. We're going to look to brake right after the crest, after the sign on the left. We're going to go ahead and shift down into 2nd. Now the really fast line through the final corner is going to be put 2 tires all the way in this bumper and go through the dirt. What it's going to do because of the elevation change is it's going to want to throw the back end to the left. So what you're going to have to do if you go over there, you're going to have to counter steer left and prepare for it. We're going to get back to full throttle right here at this apex. It's going to pull us left, we can use all that runoff, and then just stay full track left here, that way you don't waste any distance. Alright, that was 2 laps at Oulton Park Circuit International Course in the Toyota GR86. If this helped you guys get faster, please like and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and comment and let me know where you guys are getting faster, where you think I can make up some time. We're all just here to get better. Alright, I'll see y'all out there on the track this week.